The 2022 college football season was one of the better ones in recent memory. There were a lot of surprises, as I talked about them in last week's video. With there being surprises, there were also a lot of disappointments as well. Today, I'm going to be sharing my 10 most disappointing teams from the 2022 college football season. Before we get to today's video, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are that you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe. It's one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. I'm posting college football videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. Also, make sure to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Also, I'm finally getting with the times and decided to create an official Harris Highlights TikTok and Instagram. So, if you'd like to follow me, I'll be posting content over there as well. After putting together the greatest recruiting class we've ever seen, Texas A&M followed that up by missing out on a bowl game and finishing the season under 500 for the first time since they were in the Big 12. The Aggies began the season ranked as the number 6 team in the country, but their time in the AP poll was short-lived. After an embarrassing loss at home to Appalachian State, the Aggies actually responded nicely with back-to-back wins over 2 top 15 teams. But they then proceeded to lose 6 consecutive games, moving to 3-7 on the season and quickly turning into one of the worst Power 5 teams in the entire country. Their season was at least somewhat salvaged as they won their final 2 games of the year, including a very impressive victory against number 6 LSU. Still, despite the strong finish, the Aggies finished tied for the worst record in the SEC. To put into perspective how bad their season was, they finished with the exact same record and SEC record as Vanderbilt. They weren't expected to be as dominant as they were in years past, but Oklahoma finished with their most losses in a season since 1997. It was the first time they didn't finish the season ranked inside the top 25 since 2014. The Sooners actually started the season strong, winning their first 3 games and climbing as high as number 6 in the polls. However, they proceeded to lose their next 3 games in a row, including an embarrassing 49-0 loss against Texas. Not only was the 3-game losing streak a rare sight for Oklahoma, it was their first time losing 3 games in a season since 2014. After they started the season winning 3 games in a row, Oklahoma lost 7 of their final 10 games, including 4 of their last 5 contests. After a 12-win campaign and a Sugar Bowl victory in 2021, Baylor was expected to be a threat in the Big 12 once again and be a potential playoff sleeper. They started the season ranked number 10, tied for the second highest they've been ranked to begin a season since the late 1950s. After a 3-1 start to the season, the Bears proceeded to lose 6 of their final 9 games, including ending their year on a 4-game losing streak. Baylor was the preseason favorite to win the Big 12 and received more first-place votes than any other team. Instead of hoisting a conference championship trophy at the end of the season, they finished 6th in conference play. Houston was my preseason pick to be the best Group of 5 team in all of college football. They were coming off a 12-win season and were picked by the media to win the American Conference. The Cougars finished the season 8-5, but they didn't even make it to the conference title game. They started their season 2-3, pretty much already falling out of the New Year's Six discussion and conference title discussion as well. After having one of the better defenses in all of college football the previous year, Houston had one of the worst defenses in the entire FBS in 2022. Entering the season, NC State was my pick to win the ACC and make a potential playoff run. They finished the 2021 season with their best winning percentage since 2002 and had a Heisman caliber quarterback. Well, Devin Leary got hurt and missed half the season, and the Wolfpack just couldn't really turn things around without him at the helm. The Wolfpack won their first 4 games and were ranked number 10 in the country, the highest they'd been ranked in 20 years. But they lost 2 of their next 3 games, knocking them out of ACC contention. They managed to climb back to number 17 in the polls, but they dropped 3 of their final 4 games of the season, finishing the 2022 campaign unranked. 8 wins is still a solid season, especially for NC State, but I really thought this would potentially be the best season in program history. It was expected to be yet another big season for Oklahoma State. In 2021, the Cowboys won 12 games, made it to the Big 12 title game, won the Fiesta Bowl, and had one of the top defenses in the entire country. For 2022, they were expected to once again be in contention for the conference title. Instead, it was their worst season in 5 years, finishing with only 7 wins. The crazy part is that Oklahoma State actually won their first 5 games of the season and were ranked as high as number 7. After they fell to TCU, their season completely unraveled. They'd go on to lose 6 of their final 8 games, including 5 of their final 6, going from a potential playoff team to playing in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. It seems like that entire team entered the transfer portal this offseason, so that program looks to be a complete mess right now. I didn't think Michigan State would win 11 games again, but I certainly didn't think they'd miss out on a bowl entirely. After winning the Peach Bowl in 2021, the Spartans won only 5 games in 2022. They won their first 2 games and were ranked as high as number 11 in the country. However, they lost their next 4 games and their season looked to already be over. They were able to get themselves back to 500 after a nice win over number 14 Illinois, but the Spartans dropped their final 2 games of the season by a combined 27 points. They failed to go bowling in a full season for the first time since 2016, and this was only the second time since 2006. BYU was a team that many people had as a potential playoff contender entering the 2022 season. They were one of the best teams in all of college football the previous 2 years, winning 21 of their 25 games. They also had one of the more difficult schedules in the entire country, something that could have benefited them for making a playoff case. BYU still finished the season with a respectable 8 wins, but a 4-game stretch in the middle of their season completely shattered their year. They won 4 of the first 5 games and were ranked number 16 in the nation. Although they had a rough loss earlier in the year, they still had a chance to finish their season strong. Instead, they proceeded to lose 4 consecutive games, wiping out any chances they had of playing in a decent bowl game. They got their season back on track by winning their final 4 games, but by that point, it was already too late. If you take the first third and the last third of their season, BYU actually went 8-1. They could have finished as a top 10 team and played in a great bowl game, but that 4-game losing streak completely crushed them. After their win in Week 1 against Utah, it looked as if Florida was going to be a legitimate threat in the SEC. Instead, they lost 2 of their next 3 games and ended all those hopes. The Gators played 500 ball the rest of the season, but they really struggled at the end, losing 5 of their final 7 games, including their final 3. Florida did manage to go bowling, but they didn't really pick up any impressive victories throughout the entire season. After that win in Week 1 against Utah, they climbed all the way up to number 12 in the polls and had a lot of us believing they'd have a really good season. Instead, it was their second straight season finishing below 500, something we never see from Florida football. It was a hyped up season for Miami as they began the season ranked number 16 and even climbed all the way up to number 13. Instead, they finished the year with their worst winning percentage since 2007. After starting the season with 2 straight wins, the Hurricanes dropped 4 of their next 5 games. Over the final 10 contests, Miami won only 3 games, with 2 of those wins by a combined 8 points. So things actually could have been a whole lot worse for them. Miami's final 4 losses of the season came by a combined 30 points. Yeah, for those keeping score at home, that's not great at all. Well, those are the 10 teams who disappointed me the most in 2022. Which team on today's list was the biggest letdown this past season? Was there a team that didn't make my top 10 that should have been on here? Whoever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you love college football, this is definitely the place for you. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm posting videos all off season, so make sure to subscribe if you call yourself a college football fan. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm and helps share the video with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm now on TikTok and Instagram, so make sure to follow me over there if you use those apps. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.